Welcome to Chapter 4 of Deadly Manners. Before we start, we wanted to tell you about one of our favorite podcasts, Criminal, the thinking person's true crime show. I love Phoebe and Lauren, and this show is incredible. It's on PRX, and it is truly the gold standard of true crime. That's why Time Magazine calls Criminal the purest true crime series. Some criminal stories are funny, some are tense, but they're all fascinating. You can find out more at thisiscriminal.com or subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this now. Before we begin the program, here's a quick word from our sponsors.
Okay, MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable undies you'll ever wear. Period. Every pair of MeUndies is sustainably sourced and made from micromodal. That's a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. If you're used to buying boring underwear, MeUndies is going to change everything. They have cheeky briefs, they have bikinis, they have thongs for every kind of butt cheek. You have to feel for yourself why MeUndies has sold over 5 million pairs to date. And if you don't love your first pair of MeUndies, they're free. For a limited time, get 20% off your first pair plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/deadly. That's MeUndies.com/deadly.
Deadly Manners is brought to you by Riviera, Sundance Now's exclusive series starring Julia Stiles as an art curator who finds herself entering the fast-paced and deceptive world of the French Riviera after the sudden death of her billionaire husband.
Riviera is part thriller and part soap opera, and all episodes are available to binge on Sundance Now. You can also get episodes of Deadly Manners a week early and ad-free at Sundance Now.
To start a 30-day free trial, go to sundancenow.com and use the promo code DEADLY. That's promo code DEADLY.
Veronica huffed as she marched ahead of her husband to the kitchen.
What's the big idea, Veronica? I was already coming in here.
Her heels clacked against the linoleum as she dragged her husband by his arm to the refrigerator.
Are you going to say something? This is all rather theatrical.
Still, without a word, Veronica slowly opened the door, just a crack, frosty air blowing out from behind it. She began to shiver, but whether it was from the cold or from the memory of what was inside was anybody's guess.
William?
The dread on Veronica's face didn't escape him. The ever-expressive Veronica had rarely been overtaken by such foreboding. Touting an unhealthy obsession with youth, Veronica almost never let her face droop so low. William knew this was serious.
You're scaring me, dear.
Veronica opened the door wider, letting the full blast of cold enshroud them. Visible puffs of breath formed and disappeared in front of their faces.
You should have told me to wear my peacoat.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just joking.
Veronica gestured inside to what she was truly sorry for. William laid his eyes upon the scene, the dead magician and the dead chef. Her white uniform barely recognizable with the amount of red staining it.
Jesus H. Christ!
William rushed over to the body, trying to take it down without getting too close.
Chef!
It won't help. Been dead for a while now.
A while? And you're just telling me now?
What would you have done about it? Same thing you're doing now? No sense in causing concern where there is nothing to be done. I have a house full of very much alive people who still need to be tended to.
We have more important matters on our hands than worrying about a little party.
It is by no means little.
Neither are 2 dead people.
Don't raise your voice at me. You know I have a low tolerance for that sort of thing.
But death you're seemingly okay with.
I am by no means okay with any of this. But what else are we to do? We're trapped in here, and unless we smash the windows and trek out into the storm, none of us can go anywhere. Not even for help.
At least let me take them down from there. It's no way to treat the deceased.
You'll get blood all over you. It's best we just leave it there for now.
Fine. What am I supposed to tell the guests?
Nothing. What's the point? All they'll do is panic.
Right. You're right. I won't say a word then.
I can't believe someone out there, one of our friends, could be doing this to us.
Could be a drifter seeking shelter, someone hiding in the house.
And traipsing who knows what all over our carpets?
Don't worry about the carpets, Veronica. I'm sure Beatrice can handle it.
Back in the parlor, the fortune teller had moved on to James Egley, and, although dismissive at first, Olivia's interest in the art form of card reading had peaked. It wasn't so much that she had abated her skepticism, but the entertainment it provided was enough for her to stick around. Besides, revealing people's secrets and flaws was a favorite pastime of hers.
Have you ever played an instrument?
Indeed. In my hit feature from 1925, Trumpets for the Tramp.
But that was a silent film. Did you actually play it?
I did. Perhaps not with any level of skill, but it was played nonetheless.
Well, if there was ever a time to learn, now might be it.
What are you trying to say? That my next great part will require me to be a talented musician? Or if I should take up a new vocation altogether, because this dry spell might not be a spell at all, but something of irrefutable permanence. Oh, woe is me!
Woe is right. Slow down, baby. Let's let the future unfold a little more first.
The fortune teller deftly flipped a card from his deck. 5 of Pentacles. On the card, 2 people trudge through the falling snow in little more than rags. A tiny Tim-esque boy leans on his crutches as he keeps one leg raised. A woman, perhaps his mother, clutches raggedy blankets in a poor attempt to insulate herself from the cold.
Tell me what it means. I have suffered for my art. Will I suffer without it?
The 5 of Pentacles is grim, but it's not all bad, sweetie. There are 2 people on this card. That means loyalty. Someone will be by your side through these difficult times.
Who is this someone? I don't have anybody. Haven't in some time. I'm a lifelong bachelor, you see.
We all have somebody, dear.
I don't. Not anymore.
Esther, who was meandering about the party like a ghost, caught the tail end of the exchange.
Better to have loved and lost than never loved at all, said Tennyson. Though I wouldn't know what that feels like either.
Sounds like you will. Eventually.
But when? How much longer must a man wait for love?
The future doesn't follow a schedule. Some people don't find what they're looking for until much later in life.
Maybe it'll be too late by the time it even happens. Maybe it means that person will be by my side as I lay fat and broke on my deathbed.
Didn't you have a bunch of affairs with all of those actresses?
Yes, of course I've had myriad of affairs. Oh, how I've studied the human form. But physical acts of momentary passion are nothing compared to the depth of emotion that stirs within my soul.
He watched as William made his way through the room, giving his wife a loving look who smiled softly in return.
To be a couple, relationshiped, to have secret gestures that hold meaning that nobody else knows is a foreign and altogether fleeting feeling for me.
Joseph and I used to have that. We had this special signal during parties.
James was only half listening as he suddenly noticed William had that tight look about him, the look of someone who could use a drink.
He'd do a little tug on his earlobe. That meant let's get the hell out of wherever we were.
A lovely tale, but excuse me.
Egley rushed over to William, happy to oblige him in more cocktails. Esther returned to her meandering, letting herself be petted and comforted by the other guests.
Care for another shot of the good stuff, my dear friend?
I don't know. I might be nearing my limits soon.
Please indulge me with a drink and one of your trademark pep talks. Darkened clouds loom yonder. Tough times are nigh for me.
Sure, James. Sure.
Meanwhile, Olivia turned her gaze to the fortune teller.
How do you do it?
Do what?
Read people. Tell fortunes. Excuse my French, but I always thought it was a load of horse poop. You make it seem otherwise.
The fortune teller took in Olivia. His eyes scanned her up and down, feet uncannily in ballet's second position, shoulders slack. She was upright, yet relaxed. The tilt of her head, her wide-open, eager eyes. The fortune teller could see she was genuinely interested.
Sure, I'll let you in on my secrets, but only because you seem different than everybody else here.
Obviously.
Do you feel different too?
I feel like I'm supposed to like all of this. The money, the parties, the grandeur. The excess just makes me sick. People are supposed to want this though, right?
Not you, apparently.
Correct. So I guess that makes me feel different. That, and that I'm a Negro.
What if I told you one day you'd get to enjoy all this to yourself?
I'd say that I'm sure that's what it says in my parents' wills.
Uh-huh. So let me break it down for you. That first statement, you seem different, applies to a lot of people. I have eyes. It's clear it applies to you. But everyone wants to think they're special. It establishes a sense of trust, where they think I know them much more than they let on, and they're more likely to trust what I have to say about them. Unless it's bad, of course. Then everyone wants to argue. But I throw it out there, see what I get back, and work my way in.
So with James
Agley has told anyone who will listen that he's a leading man down on his luck. I simply played into his paranoia. Listen, actors are the easiest because they're the most narcissistic.
And the maid?
She's a maid. I'm sure she works her butt off for people who don't truly appreciate her. Of course she wants to get the hell out of here.
So it is a load.
Not all of it. I do have certain gut feelings that I get. Like right now. My gut is telling me you'll end up getting exactly what you want.
What's that supposed to mean?
I can't give away all the tricks of the trade, now can I? Ta-ta, little dove.
Olivia watched as the fortune teller set his sights on Barbara DuPont. He held out his cards, but Barbara voraciously shook her head no. Olivia continued to make her way through the party until the sounds of the main room started to fade behind her. Perhaps she shouldn't be walking around the house alone now that 3 people were dead, but at least it was something else to do.
Huh?
Olivia stopped. She could hear voices, frantic but soft, coming from one of the guest bedrooms. As she got closer to the noise, she could finally hear it clearly. The unmistakable sound of white people fighting. It was hushed and veiled in politeness, but teetering on the edge of exploding. Olivia stayed hidden behind a wall, carefully peering over to see. There, arguing beyond the doorway, were Roger and Nancy.
You need to calm down. Would you like me to fetch you some tea?
I don't need tea. I need to get out of this goddamn house.
Roger sat on the bed in a full sweat. His hair was matted and he looked worse for wear. He smacked the nearest bedpost, sending a crack through the polished wood.
Roger, please.
Shoddy craftsmanship.
Please try to relax. We all want to get out. I, of all people, know how much you hate being trapped.
For a moment, Nancy's face sunk into a dark thought. Not enough for anyone but someone who was watching closely to notice. Yet, as quickly as it came, the moment was dispelled.
But bold displays of liberty might put off some of the other guests.
I just want to get us out of here and get us home before any more bodies turn up.
Please, don't talk like that.
Why not? It's what's happening, isn't it?
It dawned on Nancy that despite the presence of her husband, she was alone. alone on a night where people have died so close to her, alone with someone who cares more about drinking than his own wife's safety, alone with someone she knows can get violent.
All just so awful. I've never been so scared.
Well, that's saying something, isn't it? I can't believe I let you drag me here.
The invitation was for both of us. It would have been inappropriate for me to come alone.
You're a slave to pretense, you know that?
I'm polite and well-mannered. Forgive me if I enjoy being civilized.
You'd do well to be a little uncivilized from time to time. You need to make friends with some of these modern girls. They don't bother with pretense or pleasantries. They're very real.
What does that make me?
Polite. I need to find a cigarette.
With that, Roger hurried out of the room. Olivia flattened herself against the wall as Roger passed by her. When he was completely out of sight, Olivia stepped into where Nancy was now pacing anxiously.
Haven't you heard? It's dangerous to be alone in this house.
Well, I could say the same for you. Besides, I wasn't alone this whole time. Roger was just here a moment ago.
The words, although meant to be comforting, were not.
Are you okay? You seem a little shaken.
It's a bit of a scary predicament we're in. It makes sense for one to be shaken.
I'm surprised your husband will let you out of his sight at a time like this.
It's just a...
Which excuse is it this time?
Nancy froze. As much as she hated to speak ill of her husband, no one had ever really asked her how she felt before.
Look, I hate mostly everyone at this party, so I won't say anything to anybody. But everyone needs to vent.
I've never been able to hold his attention for too long. There's always something else that gets to have him first. Political events, booze, cigar club, and...
Something else?
Something. Someone. It's all the same.
He definitely seems like the type.
Nancy wished she could grab the words and put them back in her mouth, but the return policy on words said aloud is a nightmare.
Roger's a busy man with a lot of people who need him. Really, if I'm upset that he's always off at meetings here and there, I have nobody to blame but myself. I married a senator. I should be proud that he's working late into the night, ensuring our safety from the communists and the nuclear bombs and the beatniks. I am proud.
But you said...
Never mind what I said. I'm getting back to the party. And you should too.
Nancy calmed herself and smiled the biggest, brightest lie of a smile. She slipped out of the room and headed back to the party.
I'll get it out of her.
When Olivia reached the parlor, she saw her mother deep in conversation with Leslie Birch, an opportunist who made a fortune overseas in produce importing. Olivia tried to quickly skirt by, but Veronica caught Olivia out of the corner of her eye.
There you are, sweetie. I was worried about you.
Sure you were.
Olivia kept walking, but was soon accosted by James Egley, who tugged her towards he and William.
Don't be a cube. Come have a drink with us.
James, don't encourage her to take on such a habit. It isn't healthy.
Oh, come on. She looks like she can handle her liquor.
I'm all right, thanks. Need to stay aware. What, with the murderer on the loose and all?
Olivia.
Forgive me. I'm just enjoying the company of good friends while I can. Seems they're rather hard to come by these days. And with my future looking so bleak.
Buck up, old boy. The future isn't certain until it is upon us.
You're too good to me, William. I truly am lucky to have you by my side during these tough times. Perhaps you are the one my fortune foretold.
What about all your Hollywood friends?
Hollywood friends are fickle. They are but passing fancies who will drive along your road to success, then veer off the nearest exit at the first sign of a bump.
Still seem better than the friends people make around here.
Now, why would you say that?
Because I don't have any friends.
That isn't true.
Name one friend I have. Actually, name one person my age who's ever been to this house.
Well, that's an unfortunate side effect of homeschooling.
And what I look like, apparently.
That's the world's fault, Olivia, not yours.
I just want to meet someone real. Someone who doesn't care about anything but the person inside.
William seemed hurt by this sentiment.
I'm real, and I care about you. You know, I worked very hard both before and after I found your mother. I've always tried to set a good example. I've always valued hard work and honesty above all else.
No offense, Dad, but you're just a house husband now. All you and Mom do is have parties and go to them.
That's not so bad of a life, is it?
Other people are foreign to me. You had a life before this, Dad. This is all I've ever known.
You're young. Things change. People change. When you get older, you'll see.
If I even get to be older.
Don't speak that way.
I'm going to go entertain myself. Excuse me.
Teenagers, am I right? So much angst, so much despair.
She's a real handful sometimes, but only because she's too smart for her own good.
On the other side of the room, the maid wasted no time grabbing a nearby waste bin and shoving all of the night's garbage into it. In the process, she accidentally knocked a bowl of mixed nuts onto the floor, spreading them everywhere.
Damn it. Making more of a mess, are we? I don't believe that's what I hired you for.
Sorry, I was trying to be quick, and instead I was careless. I'll get the vacuum.
Are you crazy? You're going to bring that contraption in here and make all that noise in front of company?
I guess not. I could get the broom?
The nuts stick to the carpet fibers. You're better off picking them up by hand.
She watched as the maid got down on all fours, meticulously picking up every crumb that landed on Veronica's precious rug.
That's it. Get them all. And when I come back, it better be spotless.
Veronica left the maid to her duties. As she continued to clean, Olivia squatted down next to her, helping pick up some of the pieces.
Please, Miss Olivia, I don't need any help. Enjoy your party.
It's not my party. I'd rather be on the floor picking up garbage than talk to any of these people for a minute longer.
Really, I've got it.
You sure do.
Roger very obviously narrowed his gaze on Beatrice's bottom.
Roger?
Creep.
What? It was a harmless compliment. All ladies should learn how to take one. How else will they know when they're doing a good job?
Leave the poor woman alone, Roger.
I second that.
You're not telling me what to do again, are you?
I wasn't.
Because I'm pretty sure we talked about this. About you not telling me what I can and cannot say or do. Do you remember that, Nancy? Or have the fumes from your hairspray made you crazy again?
Nancy locked eyes with Olivia, who didn't seem surprised at the exchange.
Do you mind me staring at your bottom, Beatrice? See? Look at that. She enjoys my company. She's flattered.
Roger used his hand to lift Beatrice's chin up, leaving her no choice but to look into his stark gray eyes.
And I enjoy your company very much. We can go now, Nancy.
Nancy dutifully followed as Roger moved along, pretending not to see him throw one more glance at Beatrice before they walked off.
All men are pigs, right?
My advice? Avoid them completely.
As Veronica observed Olivia chatting with the maid, she felt a hand clench around her shoulder. She gasped as she spun around to see the butler.
Oh, George, what is it?
I've reheated the beef, and anything else will take hours to prepare. And of course, someone else to prepare it. But that might raise a few questions.
And we can't have anyone else snooping around the kitchen. What happened to rationing out the rest of the courses?
That we did, but your friend Barbra has quite an appetite.
And quite the affinity for bathrooms once said appetite is sated. What are we going to do?
I'm not sure, madam. Perhaps I could look in the pantry for some non-perishable items to circulate.
Just keep the alcohol flowing. That we seem to have more than enough of.
They're bordering on 3 sheets to the wind.
Good. Maybe if they get drunker, they'll forget how hungry they are.
In my limited experience, it hasn't ever worked that way.
Well, it's going to work that way tonight, because it has to. I couldn't handle it if it doesn't. I've seen so many horrid things today.
I know. We all have.
Right now, the only thing that gives me a shred of peace is seeing my guests playing parlor games and laughing merrily and chatting about how amazing it is that I pulled all this off in the midst of a murder. Come on, George. We can do this.
We can, and we will.
That's the spirit. Speaking of murder, have you seen Esther?
I believe I saw her strolling the halls. Quite a dark cloud above her.
There's a dark cloud over this whole house, it seems. I should go check on her.
Veronica weaved in and out of her party guests in search of Esther. Hosting on the go, she smiled, grazed shoulders, and kissed cheeks, making each person feel like they were the most important person in the room, if only for a moment.
Esther?
Veronica made her way down the hall.
Esther?
Veronica noticed the door to the billiards room was slightly ajar. She pushed it all the way open, preparing herself to once again see the dead body of Joseph Feinstein lying on the floor, to smell the stench of death that now permeated the thick, musty air. However, what she wasn't prepared to see was his wife, Esther, frantically rummaging through his pockets like a common thief.
Esther, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just...
Yes, out with it.
I know how this looks, but I was... Honestly, I was...
But what?
Esther started sobbing as she was overrun by guilt.
I'm simply...
Was it you, Esther? Did you murder your husband?
Thank you for listening. We're going to leave you with a preview of Chapter 5 after a quick word from our sponsors.
MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable undies you'll ever wear. For a limited time, get 20% off your first pair, plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/deadly. That's MeUndies.com/deadly.
Deadly Manners is brought to you by Riviera, Sundance Now's exclusive glamorous thriller series starring Julia Stiles. You could also get episodes of Deadly Manners a week early and ad-free on Sundance Now. Start your free 30-day trial of Sundance Now today by going to SundanceNow.com, promo code DEADLY.
Well, did you? Was it you who killed him? What did I ever do to you that was so wrong?
You wouldn't understand!
What am I supposed to think?
Have you seen the fortune teller?
Maybe he has something to hide.
Maybe he's dead in a closet somewhere.
Everyone's the hiding type under the right circumstances.
I've got to defend what's mine.
Chapter 5 is available now on Sundance Now and Shudder, ad-free and in lossless sound quality. It'll be available on all other podcasting apps on October 24th. Thanks for listening.